I now know that that property had a man that unfortunately killed his wife. He killed himself. And then they are both still in that space. Like now that's the story. And then this was probably in the
She's
1950s.
stuck
And
there with
yeah,
him? She's stuck there with the guy who
he,
killed her? Hey everybody, do us a quick favor and hit follow and smash that like or subscribe button wherever you're listening right now. It'll help us keep getting great guests and make it so you don't miss the next episode. Now on with the show. Oh, we are live.
What's up, Gary?
What's up, my boy? Let's see.
Not much. Yeah, we're live. Hello, everybody coming in.
Hello, let's see who becomes first today.
Who's first?
I'm going to see who's first.
No, find
No,
out.
it's a race.
Someone's coming in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Don't let me down.
Come on. They might be coming in. I don't see anybody. No, not yet. Let's see.
Up.
We're
So
just getting
what's
up
going
and
on,
running.
Gary? What do we got planned for tonight?
We got a good one. We got a guest, but I don't want to introduce her yet until we got bodies.
Oh, good. We got a guest. All right.
We got a guest today. Great one.
Yeah.
Nice. The moment we get some bodies in the live, I will introduce her. So what's the latest? Where were you last night?
Here.
Tell the good people.
I was here last night. So when we were at the
Crystal Bloodthorn, the first one in.
Bloodthorn. Oh, wait.
And Heather, you just got beat out by a second.
Bloodthorn has come into the chat.
Heather Ayton is, welcome to the live. Our first two. Here we go. Here come the bodies. Here come the bodies. But sorry, you were saying, John? Where were you last night?
So I was up at Letchworth and not last night. I was up at Letchworth a couple of days ago and an entity came through and really took control of the spirit board we did. Like it was vicious.
You did it like a Ouija board?
Yeah. Up at Letchworth.
Got it.
And it was vicious, right? Like it wouldn't let us close the board. It was saying some nasty stuff. So we eventually got the board closed, and then we decided to do an Estes method where I'm the only one that went under. And it got bad. Something really dark and evil came through. It screwed up my voice. Like you could see, like the moment it does it, like it was bad. And so my voice has been shot. Not my voice, excuse me, my throat has been hurting. It feels like a grenade went off inside, and I feel fine. Like I'm not sick or anything. So last night I was here at the breakfast.
Maybe that spirit put something in your mouth.
Hey, he could have. It could have been.
That spirit might have put.
Could have been hot, and I couldn't handle it.
That spirit gave you a little something.
Yeah. But I'm no quitter. All right, I'm no quitter.
Never quit.
So
you show who's boss.
That's it. So I
put your mouth around it.
That's it. Put your mouth around it. So what I did was I went live till about 12:15 last night, and then took the night off from live. I was still working. I was going through replays, doing a little this, doing a little that, researching some new spots. Bunch of things I was doing last night. So
right on. Well, welcome tonight. Now, look, we got some bodies in the room. We can say this. Welcome to Splintered Spirits Live, our Thursday podcast. This podcast hosted by me, Gary, and John Sander from Stand Up Paranormal, where we discuss all things trying to answer that question, what are spirits? And we have a guest today to help us answer that question. Get another tile for the mosaic.
Yep.
John, let me tell you a little bit about our guests.
Yes, please do.
Our guest today is Tawney Lewis. Tawney is a paranormal researcher, an intuitive medium, a master spiritual teacher. And her work bridges boots on the ground investigation with psychic insight. She has led investigations at places like the old Montana State Prison, the Whaley House, the home that inspired Poltergeist. She's a Californian. She's out here, and she regularly teaches paranormal and intuition development workshops across the U.S. and at Lilydale Assembly, New York. Viewers also know her. She's been on shows, My Haunted Hometown, Paranormal Revenge. She's been on Ghost Adventures, and multiple Scariest Places, like Scariest Places on Earth, Scariest Places in the World, things like that. And another Hollywood-focused paranormal TV series. Are you guys ready? Are you guys ready to meet Tawney? She's waiting. I don't want to keep her waiting for yet another second.
hello.
Tawney Lewis, how are you?
Hello.
Hi, I'm fantastic. How are you both doing?
We're doing well. Thank you so much for
Good.
joining
Thank
us
you
on
for
Splintered
asking.
Spirits today.
Yes, thank you so much.
Now I'm excited to be here.
Oh, good. So are we. I want to dive right into this. You got a great background, a great history in this space, and you cover a lot of bases. But the first thing I have to ask you is, as a someone who is also blessed and cursed with beautiful eyes, what your eye color is stunning. Does that ever like freak people out when you go on an investigation? How is it like she's looking through me? What is happening?
Well, thank you. They are contacts. I will be the first to admit that, but a few people have said like, "Oh, they're beautiful." I'm just like, "Thanks so much." So, no, I appreciate that. Yeah, I appreciate it.
They fit the bill, man. It's like if if you're gonna go to a spooky place and a paranormal researcher and intuitive shows up and you start staring at him, it's like, well, shit's about to get real with these eyes. It's like, what color was they got yellow today? Yes, or something, right? It's nice. Uh,
They're
Tony,
great.
Tony,
Yes.
when you strip away the labels of medium and investigator, how do you personally define what you are doing when you walk into a haunted location?
I think I am trying to just understand and tell the story. And so there's a lot of people out there just afraid of paranormal. They're scared of it, but it's because they don't know what it is. People fear what they don't know. And that's actually why I do this work because I don't know. I don't have an answer. And so I would say going into a location trying to make sense of it, that's kind of my way of just like, you know what, let's see who lived here. Let's look into the space. Let's tell a story. And so that's the best way to describe how or why I do it.
Okay. You said you were originally, I think I've heard you say this, and correct me if I'm wrong, that you were originally afraid of ghosts, but you were drawn to them anyway. So what part of that fear still serves you in the field, and what part have you had to like unlearn?
I am. It's my biggest fear. People they laugh at me. They're like, "Really, you're weird." I'm like, "No, it's just I'm afraid of it." But I took the time over the last, oh gosh, 20 plus years to learn everything that I can about everything actually. UFOs, cryptids, ghosts, just so that I understand it. So now that I do this work, yeah, I'm still afraid of it, but I feel more in control. I feel like whereas you do an investigation and people are like, something's gonna follow me, something's gonna do that. And I'm just like, and I know from, my understanding of it, like, I mean, yeah, that's a possibility, but I feel more in control because I understand the situation. I understand all aspects of the paranormal. And so I don't let it scare me now. Again, it's still lingering. It's still lingering. It's still there. I'm not gonna but I don't let it control me because it is still a part of me that I just find it all so fascinating. Kind of going back to what I said earlier, it's like just not knowing what's happening or who was there or understand. It's just about telling the story, which I appreciate because there's a lot of investigators out there that are like, I want to be scared. I want something to hit me or push me. And I'm just like, oh, it's not my style. I literally just want to know who's here. I'm nosy. Like that's my approach. I'm like, and I say that like I'm nosy as an
Right.
investigator to just know about the land and the property and what's going on. So I'm sorry that was a little long, but that's kind of the
No,
best way to describe my fear of it.
yeah, I'm trying like what is it that you're afraid of? Is it like a jump scare or is it like an attachment? What is that fear and has that fear changed now that you've educated yourself in the space?
It's it's a lot. I'm thinking about over the years, it could be an attachment, it could be something dark where me as an investigator, I personally do not deal with demonic things or where someone's like, "We feel like the house is full of demons." I'm like, "And I'm gonna go that way." Now I understand that as an
Yeah, it's
investigator,
like this.
I do understand though as an investigator that it's kind of unavoidable where I know that there's gonna be a situation, might even be something on television that I'm filming where it's like, guess what? You are gonna have to involve yourself in that. And so it's a few things. I think again, I'm trying to think back to when I was younger. I was afraid of I guess I just things I couldn't understand. It's like, okay, I just saw something out the corner of my eye. That wasn't a person. I don't know what that was. I'm scared now. Like, is it gonna follow me? Is it gonna hurt me? So yeah, it just depends. Like cryptids. I was afraid of cryptids when I was younger, but it's because I didn't know what it was. I was like, is this a monster? Is this a dinosaur? I didn't know what it was. So I couldn't understand it. And that's the best way to describe like how, like why it scared me.
Got it. Got it. Walk us through your internal process on a case from like that first email or phone call to your research, and how do you decide what tools you're going to bring, and then when you decide no, I'm staying in the car outside of if it's a demon.
It depends. I kind of have two different situations coming to mind. Like years ago, there was an investigation where a family said their son was scared to go to sleep, scared to go in his room, and this is like a 6-year old, and that kind of pissed me off. Where it's like, okay, like who are you and why are you trying to scare a child? And
Hmm.
so, myself and the team went there, and we interviewed the entire family. The intuitive aspect. So I like to say I'm the jack of all trades. I do everything. So I'm actually an investigator. I use tools. I'm trained on tools. But when I feel like I need to, I will tap into the intuitive side. I don't really go into it as I am the all powerful psychic medium. That's not my style. We're not God. We just so happen to have gifts. And if we're able to use it, great. And if we're not accurate, then that's fine too. And so with that situation, it was like, okay, we're investigators. Let's find out what's going on. So, interviewed the child, the family, interviewed the space. I remember, and this was years ago, I remember that he drew what he thought it was, and it looked like, I don't even know what that, a dark, all jet black monster that was like 8 feet tall. Was like, okay.
No thanks.
But yeah, exactly. I was like, but what I do remember is, intuitively kind of telling the other investigators where I felt drawn, which was his room and another area. And with that situation, we talked to it. So I was like, listen, just say, listen, you're dealing with a kid, don't know who you are, get the F out. Like, there's different approaches to investigating. But what's funny, that worked because that particular case, because the family's like, oh my God, he can sleep. There's nothing here. Da, 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 da. I'm just like, cool. I'm glad to hear that was effective. Whereas this most recent case, it was a tattoo shop, actually. There's an event in a week, by the way, about that. But there's a
Okay.
tattoo shop here in Los Angeles where there was a murder there about 15 years ago. And the owner actually contacted my investigation partner and said, can you both come out and tell me what's here? Is it him? Is it what's going on? And we did an investigation as normal. Then they're like, what do you feel? Put my tools down, tapped in intuitively, could clearly feel and see one man. Didn't feel like it was a conglomeration. I was like, there's just a man here, and he's not the nicest. And he's like, oh yeah, that's Louis. I was like, oh. But yeah, long story short, I think it just depends on the situation where there are people that will say, hey, come and check this out. But I'm able to balance both, where it's like, do I need to utilize tools? Do I need to tap in intuitively? But it's not like I guess I'm a psychic. I'm just going to come in here and just read every single thing. Not
Got it.
necessary
What
most of the
what are
time.
your tools, Tawny?
Oh gosh, my favorite is the spirit box. I love that
Okay.
thing.
Like
The
a
realm.
classic SB7
Yes.
or something? Okay.
Yep. The classic SB7. I'm trying to think what I have. I have a SLS camera. That's my newest toy.
Mhm.
But I love using that one. The REM pod. I have a simple one. It's so simple. It's brand new. It's literally just putting on my speaker with my Bluetooth and using, I think it's called necrophonic. And
Mhm.
someone used that in another like state, and I was like, what's that? They're like necrophonic, and it was accurate. And I've downloaded it, and it's like the best thing ever. You can hear voices and numbers, and they're communicating with you. And so, I switched out that every so often with other tools. But yeah, and then I have a Spirit Speaks. It's a chat box that's from England that I use all the time, and I have a few of them. So whenever I do events with other people, they love. I'm like, hey, you want to participate? Here, go ahead and hold this and yell out if something comes up. So, yeah, those are kind of like my top. But
Okay.
yeah, I was trying to scam.
What does evidence mean to you now compared to when you first started doing this, and you started investigating? Is there anything that you used to count as proof that you now discard, or vice versa?
Evidence, yeah, we have to be careful now because there's so many people out there. There's so many. I'm an investigator now. I like ghosts, so everything I see is a spirit. Oh, look, there's water. No. They're like, oh, there's an orb, and I'm like, that's water. So backwards. But yeah,
Right.
I'd say a good one is orbs. Actually, that's one where there's a lot of investigators. They're like, I caught spirit. Look at that. That is a man. I'm just like, I don't know. I think that might be a bug or something. But I'd say that's the most common. But yes, when it comes to evidence, it's like really, really looking at it with that. fine-tooth comb because now there's so many apps. There was someone took a picture, a gentleman on the Queen Mary, and I think he's like, "Look, there's a spirit looking at us through the window," and that was an app. You can just tell it was an app. You can just tell that was not because he
Oh,
was looking at all the
like the app put put the ghost picture in there. Is that what you mean? Like it does that
yeah,
automatically?
yeah.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah, and
That's weird.
people are doing that now, and so it's just interesting, like, going into 2026 as that investigator from, like, I don't know, 15 years ago, I'm like, "Oh, that's a thing now, okay." So you have the apps, and then, again, going back to the orbs, it's like, "This is a spirit." It's like, "No, it's probably water. It's probably a bug." But, yeah, it's a
Dust.
lot more yeah.
No, for sure. What so do you always investigate with a team, or do you go about on your own in a lot of these, or
It varies. Over so I've been doing this for I lost count. I'm gonna say 15 years now. And at first I had a team. Well, there was a team, and then they all moved away. And I was like, ah, that sucks. And then I was on another team where it was all about show and money and making stuff up. And I was like, okay, this isn't my style. I'm literally just wanting to investigate. This is weird. And then I left that team. And then I just kind of did things like with different friends that were interested in paranormal, which was fine. But within the last like year and a half, I have a really good friend, Tammy Merhab Chavez, who is Holly Weird Paranormal. Awesome. Very, very knowledgeable, very skilled, very takes it very, very seriously. And so within the last year, we do mostly of our events together when it comes to investigations, and we do both events, but also real investigations. But also, I teach on my own, different sorts of like tying in the intuitive with paranormal.
got it? I just reached out to Hollywood Paranormal recently, and we just started connecting. So I'll have to have her on, and I'm in LA. I got to come to one of these things.
Oh my god,
But
yeah,
I gotta make sure you gotta tell me that I don't want any demons and shit either. I'm not into
yeah.
any of that
I don't
nonsense.
either.
I don't want it. You know, tattoo
Neither.
shop, I can get into it. Um, but some of these other things. So you're a teacher as well. You've trained,
Yeah,
yes?
yeah,
So,
absolutely.
what is that? How does that change, or in terms of whether you're on an investigation with other people? Is it hard to not be in teacher mode, or is it, or can you take a step back sometimes and let other people you're with do their thing?
I can absolutely take a step back. I prefer to actually. It's probably a detriment to me because I don't really okay, so, like, I wanna be out there, but then I don't. It's like, "Please don't like, look at me, but don't look at me," and so, I can absolutely turn it off, because I keep going back to, working with other psychic mediums is awesome. I love working with other mediums, but I have to stress where it's like, we're not all God. We're not all perfect, and so I want others to test that out and see what they get and see if it matches with whatever I was picking up, and so, as an investigator going out there as a teacher, no, I don't go around teaching anybody unless they ask to be taught. I just go ahead and go along with it. And then if someone asks for my impression, I'll usually give it. I rarely during investigations voluntarily give my impressions because I don't like to take it over. I've seen people do that. It's like, oh, you want my feedback? I will absolutely tell you what I'm getting. Is there another psychic medium here? Okay, what did you get? And I love it. It's the same thing. So, but yeah, I
You,
can turn off that teacher mode.
and you were taught by your student Lisa Williams, who's a very famous psychic. Is that
Yes,
correct? I
yes.
have that right. And did she teach you anything that completely rewired how you approach mediumship? Like, did you go in with one expectation, and then you're like, no, oh wow. Well, and if
Yeah.
so, what was that? What were some of those things that changed after being taught by somebody like that?
She is incredible. Yes. I was mentored by Lisa Williams. I took her, so I worked with her one-on-one with her master teacher program about 5 years ago, where it's almost like the graduation portion. You have to go to New York and you're with her for about a month. And it's like, okay, test time. But no, what was great with her is that, yes, she's a spiritualist, but she also used to do paranormal investigation a lot, on her television shows about 20 years ago. She taught me one to stay grounded because I remember doing an investigation with her years ago, and I went into a closet and I turned around, and she's like, "Where are you going?" I was like, "He just said get out," and I was like, "I'm not gonna mess with a man that says get out of
Yeah,
my closet,"
it sounded pretty
and she's
clear.
like,
Yeah.
"Yeah," she's like, "Oh no." She's like, "No, no, no. He needs to know that we're in control." I was like, And then she went in there and she's like, "Yeah, we're gonna be in your space. You need to feel into my energy." And I remember that. It was like 5 or 6 years ago. And so again, it's that being in control, realizing that the spirit or the environment does not control you. And that's a big one because I've used that as an investigator and
Okay.
it's worked. Yeah, it's really, really worked.
What's you're certified as a master spiritual teacher, right? And that's,
Mhm.
I mean, that feels like a heavy burden almost when to say that out loud. And is there any sort of responsibility that you feel you have when you take on students now? And
Yes.
what is that like? What's the most important thing to pass on, and what do you look for? You ever turn anybody away like, no, you're not worthy?
Um, I was I would say the biggest thing is ethics. That is number 1. A perfect example is about, I wanna say 13 or 14 years ago, I got a reading with a friend with a psychic that was just at a shop, and she says, "You have a sister?" And she's moving her hands around and whatever, and I said, "Yeah, I do." She says, "There's gonna be a swift passing." I was like, "Oh." I looked at my friend, he looked at me, I was like, "This oh, my sister's still here." And so that's a good example to tell you about the ethics. There's a lot of people that are like, I got one thing right. I'm a psychic. Oh my God, I'm going to start charging. Woohoo. And then they get out there and they spew all this crap to people when they don't realize that they're holding somebody's life in their hands. You say one thing and someone's going to latch onto it. Not everybody, but it's like me, I didn't. But there's some people that are like, well, this person said this about me or my family. And so I would say the number one is ethics. And so I ensure whether it's myself, which to be transparent, I'm not like a full-time psychic medium where I charge people for readings. It just doesn't really give me joy. I love the paranormal. I love
Right.
utilizing it for paranormal. This is true. But
Got
when
it.
I have given readings, I feel that I've been trained very, very well to where I was able to relay information in a positive way, without hurting someone's feelings. And then as well with paranormal, doing investigations and connecting with spirit without seeming insulting. Here's a really good example. Recently, I was in Texas doing an event with Adam Berry, and there was a hallway where everyone was like, oh, there's something down there. Oh, I'm so uncomfortable. And I kind of stood by the door and I could feel a man sitting down, like half naked, cowering. But to me, he felt like he had like a mental illness. And I didn't say, oh, yeah, there's a spirit. There is something wrong with him. Like, I didn't say, just like, hey, everyone, there is energy there. I feel like he just probably doesn't want to be bothered. His energy's a little chaotic. You might want to step away. And so
Now,
that's an
who are you afraid?
example.
Who are you afraid to offend by saying that? Like, just in case, like, so it sounds like you're just catching your words, just as if you were in a corporate environment. You don't want to get, you know, burned by saying an offensive thing, or is it about or maybe it's all these things, or managing people's grief in a certain way? Is that? Do you find that the world is sensitive when you're on an
I
investigation, that
feel
you do have to watch your words?
Yeah, I feel like I have to watch my words, but also not just with a living person, but also when it comes to investigating, I always remind people that these spirits are people that once lived. These were people that walked the earth. They still have, depending on the type, this is probably, I felt this was an intelligent spirit. So someone that probably died in the space, he can still understand what's happening. And so that's kind of what I meant, where it's like I have to be mindful, where it's like, he's like, excuse me, you just
I got you.
offended me,
You're right.
So yeah,
You don't want to offend the spirit. You're also thinking
yeah,
about that. I got you.
everyone.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, that makes more sense. That makes more okay. Right. You don't want to offend it. All right. So I have so many questions for you. I'm just trying to see like how you play. So if you all
Okay.
right, so because you cover so many different things, right? Which I love. And so if you had to design like your gold standard of a joint sort of intuitive and scientific investigation, what does that look like in practice for you?
I paused because I was trying to think I've actually done one.
Yeah, what's your dream investigation combining your spiritual side, the intuitive side, and the science side?
Oh gosh. Yeah, I was like, I thought of two instead of it being awkward silence. The first one is I've always wanted to go and investigate a castle in Scotland or Ireland. And I know you said scientific. I was also kind of tying in history because it's
Okay.
like, hey, can I check out the castle, Mary Queen of Scots? Let's just see who's there. Maybe she's there. And
Right.
it's not necessarily whipping out all my tools, but it's like, hey, can I walk through and learn about this again, the story, the location, and then see who I'm picking up, and maybe we can tell that story. So the way I investigated basically kind of ties in a lot to the story, the person, the look, like tell me like what happened. And so that comes to mind. Like that would be like my dream investigation. I'm not using the tools, but it's like a mixture. Yeah, historic, scientific. It's kind of everything.
You know what's interesting is a lot of people we've met and a lot of people I've met in here usually say they don't like to know the story of a place before they go in, right? Because they don't want to be biased. They want to learn from the feelings or the spirits. Like they want the spirits to tell them what's going on. But it sounds like you do the opposite. You want to know what this place was. Is that fair to say? Like you want to know what happened here and then see if it's corroborated with what you pick up.
So So I might have said it backwards. So no, I actually don't like to know about like if someone
Okay.
said, "Hey, I need you to go to this location," I really don't want to know, but it's when I get in that I like to try to see if I can figure it out.
Oh,
Like that.
okay.
That's what I
Okay.
meant. So yeah, I'm like, okay, let's just kind of put the story together and let's see what we get. Like going back to Houston, Texas, there was a house we investigated and I didn't know anything about it, but then we were getting information. Now, weeks later, I now know that that property had a man that unfortunately killed his wife. He killed himself. And then they are both still in that space. Like now that's a story. And then this was probably in the
She's
1950s.
stuck
And
there with him? She's stuck there with the guy who
he,
killed her?
that's very interesting because Adam Berry was connecting with her, and Adam even told her, he said, "Why are you here?" He was like, "You're in Spring, Texas. There's so many places." He's like, "Go down to this." Like he was telling the spirit, and she was so present. And so that's an example of why I do it because it's like now I'm like, wow, we got the story. We communicated to her. I know about her. I forgot her name. I was like, we know her name now, you know. So that's the best way. So yeah, I would like to know the story once I enter the doors and figure it
That
out.
woman, that ghost has got battered wife syndrome or something. It's like you
Yeah,
don't want to
yeah. Oh
spend
yeah,
eternity, right?
absolutely,
You don't want to spend eternity with the person
absolutely.
who murdered you. It seems insane.
Of
Yeah.
course, she doesn't remember that it happened.
Yeah.
But she does,
Maybe
right? You said like did she pick it up? Did she know that she was there and
she
murdered?
she she did. Oh God, he was so gross. I just remember his energy. Luckily he kind of stayed away from us. He didn't really want to communicate. But yeah, she started to communicate more as she got used to us because Adam and I had different groups coming in and out. But yeah, she did communicate more of like what would happen and more about herself and her life.
Are there tools that you have intuitive tools that you have that you when you teach students that sort of can move them from being interested in the space to actually opening up their intuitiveness and their
Yes,
abilities? Can
absolutely.
you give like what are like the top two things you tell people that they should try to do to strengthen their? Because I do believe in this. I do believe it's an intuition that people have that is for someone who then can say that they're a medium. It is heightened on a level that maybe some
Mhm.
people may never reach or they just don't have it. But I do believe it is a type of an intuition. So what are like your top tools to help people open up that ability?
It's about, it's about letting them understand that everybody is intuitive. Kind of like you said, I feel like everybody has that natural intuition. I feel like that they need to understand how they're receiving the information. That's the number one thing. The number one thing is how to receive the information. Are they seeing it? So for example, with me, I'm clairvoyant. So it plays out like a movie. So if someone were to say, "What do you see here?" I'm like, "I see this person, they're walking this way and they're wearing the color green." I have them understand, again, if they're like, I feel it. So that's clairsentient. So they're feeling it and they're able to say, oh, I feel sad or sick. So those are kind of the key things. So the clairs, that's what it's called. That's
Yep.
like a big focus in the class. And then usually once they understand that, they're like, oh, yeah, I always hear. I'm like, yeah, so that's clairaudient. And then by the end of the class, they're like, okay, now I know how I'm receiving it. Then they are able to develop it even further.
So
Yeah, you were talking about one of the clairs before when you spoke about the ethics and whatnot.
yeah,
And you said that that person was talking about the sister and all that. We call that clair BSing.
and clear vagueness.
Oh well,
Yeah.
yeah, and
Yeah.
there's clair vagueness as
Yeah.
well.
Clear
That's right.
Vegas,
Oh, yeah.
but I like it. So, but what's interesting. So I'm gonna mansplain what you just told me from myself because it helps me digest the information as I learn this stuff. It seems like so if I understand you right, it's teaching people to recognize it when it happens,
Mm-mm.
right? Like what,
Yes. Yep.
and to like to stop for a second and recognize this is what you're feeling it, you're seeing it, you're hearing it, and then embrace it.
Yep. Exactly. Yeah, yeah, there was a girl in Texas. She was young girl took my class and she's like, "I see symbols all over the place." Ah, and I was just like, "What do you mean?" She's like, "I see stars and rainbows and this," and I'm just like, "Okay." And then, and I said, "Okay, you're seeing them?" She's like, "I see them."
Did you say, "Are you on drugs?" Is the first question drugs?
I should
And
have. I should have. Like, "Are you okay?"
are you seeing a fire breathing dragon?
Second question: do you have any more?
Right.
But no, she's like, "I see like a star." And I said, "Okay, when you see it, like, how do you feel?" And she was like, "I feel comfortable, like I'm at home." And so I was helping her understand what she was seeing, what she was feeling. But by the end of the class, she's like, "Okay, like I get it." And so it's just, and it takes a lot. They can learn something from me in one class, but developing this and really understanding it, oh my gosh, depending on the person, it could take years. And that's what I meant about earlier, where there's people that are like, "Oh my God, I'm psychic. I'm going to start charging." And I'm like, "No, you really need to understand it." It took me a very long time to really trust myself and
Right.
become comfortable and confident. Or like you said, you're like master teacher, like that's kind of heavy. And I'm like, well, you know what? I worked with honestly one of the best teachers in the world, and she's only certified about, I lost count, maybe 40 or 50 of us to have that title of master teacher. And we took it very, very seriously. And so, yeah.
As you should. You mentioned earlier that you feel you've gotten physically ill and you felt it, like, in certain locations.
Okay.
I've even heard you in interviews talk about the Oman House out here, which
Oh,
I'm actually
God.
I'm actually doing a walkthrough there on Monday, but that's a whole other thing. But it's uh yeah, I'm very nervous. I still haven't decided whether I'm going to get out of my car yet or not. But it's
Yeah.
what spiritual and physical sort of before care do you go into a location, and then after care do you do in this situation? Especially if you're telling me you're getting physically ill.
Yeah, thank goodness, because I've been doing it for so long, and again, I learned everything, that it usually will shake off after a while. So for example, a friend of mine up north, she has an Airbnb. It is ridiculously haunted. And I went to her basement and I was like, we were down there and I was like,
First
is that a
mistake, by the way.
portal?
Yeah.
You're right.
I mean,
You're absolutely right. I
I
was like,
mean,
why? And she's like, "Oh yeah, people said there's a portal." I'm like, "Why am I here?" And sure enough, the rest of the night, it's kind of off. And I told her, she wanted me to stay. And I said, "I'm sorry." I was like, "I know you want me to continue doing these investigations. I actually feel ill. I'm going to leave." And I left. Better. So I just removed myself from the situation. The Oman House years ago. Oh gosh, so long. I'm gonna say 13, 14 years ago. Yeah, I went and went into the why do I keep going in the basement? I went to the basement. And
it's
there,
like, don't you
yeah, there was,
know, Tony, that's the last place to go is the goddamn basement? Like, it's the last place to go. You're going there
why you
first.
go to the basement? So I went in the basement. And then the next day, out of nowhere, I got strep throat. But it was so fast. And it was like, oh, okay. Like what? So yeah, those are some examples. But yeah, normally now I know if I go to a location where I should not be, I feel very, very ill. And I'm just like, okay, I need to remove myself from this.
It's crazy. John was just telling a story from last night how he felt his throat was hurting. I wonder if that's like a go-to for ghosts, like
Oh,
choking
yeah.
from the inside or
Oh my
something.
God. Oh my God. But yeah, it's I've controlled it now. There was a recent investigation I did a few weeks ago at the Heritage Square Museum, the Octagon house. Oh, it has a story about some man that's still there and his stuff is still in the attic. And the first time in my paranormal career, a spirit that does not like me. It's never happened. I don't know. You might want to ask Tammy about this when you get a hold of her. I was insulted by it, but I remember feeling sick when I went in there. I was like, I'm really nauseous. I don't do nausea. What's going on? Do nausea in haunted homes. And then when I left, I felt better. But yeah, the spirit. Number one, he doesn't like women. Tammy felt that he maybe didn't like psychic mediums. I thought, seriously, I've never said this. I thought maybe he was racist. The things that he was saying off the speaker box, and 'cause I even said, I was like, "Sir,
Why is that
I am."
shocking? That seems, I
Yeah,
bet
I
you it
was
was.
thinking about, you're right, because that house looked like it was built, I'm gonna say the late 1800s or something. But I said, "Sir, did I do something?" And on the speaker box, he was like, "Well, you're a fool." I was like, "I don't. Why are we insulting? I didn't do. What is going on?" And I said, "Well, if I offended you, I'm sorry." He's like, "Stop talking."
Oh yeah, man. This is like so. Which you, and you bring up an interesting point, not only in with the dead, but like what about the living? Living like as a woman of color in a space that's very white and very male. Where in the paranormal world have you felt the most seen, and where have you felt the most invisible?
The most seen, Canada. Canada is very progressive, and that is how I started media because they were wanting to just, you could tell they just wanted to diversify. And so the first show I did was, let me back up actually. I did a few to be projects, to be like spiritual
Sure.
shows, paranormal shows. But then Canada, they're like, who are you? What do you do? Hardcore interviews and make sure I knew what I was talking about. And so the first show was Paranormal Revenge. And then someone saw me, Paranormal Revenge, and asked me to do My Haunted Hometown. And so luckily it took years for them to finally get to the United States. And everyone's like, hey, I saw you on Travel Channel. I was like, oh my God. Finally, I was like, okay.
Right.
So it's unfortunate because I feel like there's so much opportunity with diversity in the paranormal space for the United States. But unfortunately, they tend to cast the same people over and over and over again. It's like, it's very disappointing.
Well, it's a weird time, first of all, in like sort of legacy media, in the sense of
Hmm.
there's one or two stars and that's all you're going to get right now, and everybody's really building their presence online and doing their own thing, right?
Hmm.
And but I see that. And where have you found it other than, obviously Canadians embraced you. Have you felt it's been a struggle here for you? I mean, outside of getting like a show on television here, which to be honest, it's a struggle for everybody right now to get a show anywhere. But, how has it been going here? And do you feel it's because that you're a woman and you're an African American woman in this space?
It's been a positive a lot of the times. I'm happy to be different and unique because I do feel like it makes people see me more. They're like, "Oh, okay, you're different." And then they hear me talk or they have a conversation. They're like, okay, you're not just an idiot YouTuber. You're actually somebody that knows what you're talking about. It's just like, oh, well, thank you.
Right.
And so so I've had a lot of success. My classes do very, very well. So I'm very like, that is so humbling to me. The media that I've gotten, again, I think I've gotten it because of that. They were trying to find someone different.
Sure.
It's not the same prototype that you see on all of these television shows. It's also been times very, very hard. I remember years ago, there was a pilot. Someone wanted to work with me and they wanted to do a pilot, and I did a whole day and filmed it with two gentlemen, and it was like promising and awesome. And then a few months later, the exact same show was greenlit with an entirely white cast. It was the exact same premise. And I was like, oh, and I was okay. I was okay, but I just remember thinking like, this is very interesting because they say they want something different, which
Right.
that's what it was. And then it's like they went with the norm. But I'm not gonna take it personal because it was canceled after one season, so it wasn't supposed
Well,
to happen.
good. That's karma. I mean, it
Yeah.
really is. John and I are big fans of disruptors and people who do things different. I think John's got a history of doing things different. When he first
Good.
started, he was very didn't have a lot in the community, didn't have a lot of love towards him and how he was doing things. And now that he's, hit the numbers he hits and gets the followers that he's got, that tune has changed significantly, right? And we're big fan.
You also don't realize just how much racism there is in the paranormal, and I've spoken about this vocally many times. I redid a cemetery that was very unique,
Mhm.
and it had both black and white buried in it, and it's as old as the late 1700s.
Wow.
And it was when I was redoing it and fixing it up, the amount of hate that I got was insane. I could not believe it.
Oh God.
My mods were deleting racist comments left and right from multiple different people. Some of the most horrible things were being said. And it really opened my eyes to go, wow,
Wow.
there is still so much evil, ugly ignorance and hatred out there.
Yeah.
It's not even funny.
It was
Yep.
so weird. It was so
Mhm.
strange. That was a strange thing. I mean,
Mhm.
for sure.
Yeah.
Tawny, what do you think now that you've been on TV shows, you're doing these investigations, you're a teacher. What do you think the paranormal field gets wrong about spirits the most often, based on all of the things that you're doing and you're working in? What are we missing?
Unfortunately, there's shows that have made people think that everything is a demon. And so that's kind of the biggest that I've seen or heard, where if I teach classes, they're like, "Oh, do you encounter demons? Like, is this class about demons?" And I was like, "Oh God." So it's like a thing now where people, that's what they think. They think of the paranormal. And so that's kind of why I do a lot of teaching, or I want to put myself out there in the media, because I want to show people that it's not all about that. There's that historical aspect. There's that, again, learning about the person and the story. It's not all demons, it's not all darkness. And so I'd say that definitely is the biggest misconception.
I'd say that's you know, I've asked that to a few people. That seems to come up quite a bit. And is it
Hmm.
and do you think, I mean, look, having worked in TV, and I was a producer and I still am, and it seems, I wonder if that's just we're sort of the architects of our own nightmare here in this sense, because that's what rates,
Fear
right?
sells.
Like, is the demon the thing that gets
Fear
the
sells.
eyes? So we have to remind, like, instead of saying, is it just semantics at this point? Like, just don't say ghost, just say demon, because it gets the eyeballs. But then for
True.
up and comers, they think everything's a demon.
Yep.
I don't know. But then if they didn't do that, no one would watch the damn show, and then
True.
it wouldn't bring awareness to the paranormal. It's such a,
See that I disagree with. I think people would watch the show if it was, well,
I don't know.
not fabricated with a lot of these things. Actually tap into what is in the house. Show the people, hey, you don't have to be scared of this. And that's the one thing that the TV shows just never did. They want to sell the fear. They want to label everything what it's not. I mean, they do it all the time.
Well, look, dude, they're not. I mean, I can tell you,
Network notes.
yeah, the network notes. But I mean, the truth is this, man. It's not like they don't want to hit. They're not
Of
trying not to
course.
get a hit. But when the show isn't rating, they got to pull it. I mean, it's not making money,
Hmm.
right? I mean, that's
Yep.
just the
Well,
way it
yeah.
goes.
Yeah.
So,
True.
and with YouTube and the people crushing it out there, they're just not coming to the shows. There's very few shows that they're coming to. So I don't know the right answer to that. And maybe it would, but it's not like they're not willing to try it. But if the numbers drop that week and they tried it, they ain't coming back to it in week 2. You
Oh,
know,
no.
it's got to be
So
fast.
true.
We don't, the days of letting a show grow, like find an audience, are over. There's none of that anymore, right? It has to hit the moment it
What? So,
drops.
so why do you think that is, Gary? Especially with paranormal shows or all shows in general.
All shows. It's all shows.
Yeah.
But it just, times have changed. There's more options and more competition. We have, I mean, look, I'm old. When I was growing up, there was four or
There's
five
four. Yeah.
channels.
Yeah.
So, that's it. There's no competition. This is where you get everything. Now there's 15,000 voices talking to you. We can check those ratings second by second. We know exactly when they're dipping now. That's how
Sure.
good it was. It used to be how many, Fords sold at the end of the week, right? Based on the commercials for which show had, and then it's like, if they sold more cars that week, I guess that show is doing well. Now we know instantaneously when people change the channel or they get up to flush, go to the bathroom in a break. You know what I mean? It's crazy. So I don't know. I mean, it's much harder. It's much harder to do the right thing in the paranormal space to prove that it works.
Well, then
And also,
someone needs to tell Wheel of Fortune to scream demon every now and then, and maybe they'll keep it.
but like, Tawny, what's the
I'm sorry.
Tony, sorry, I'm ranting about nonsense, and you're sitting there.
Yeah.
That's okay.
What's the longest you've spent in a location? Like, have you ever gone for a long period of time into one place or back and frequently? And
Yeah.
what have you noticed the
Yeah.
more you've gone? Tell us that story.
Yeah. Montana State Prison. I went during COVID, around that time, with that
Hmm.
crappy team that just wanted attention. We went and we were there for hours. God, maybe 9, 10 hours maybe. And I remember certain areas started to feel sick. I was like, "Ugh, here we go. Okay, there's that feeling. So there's something here," where I admit, again, I try to avoid dark and demonic things, but that place, it was so large. I usually tell other people, like, "Hey, if you want to investigate it, the owners were awesome, but you might want to try to do 2 days because it's massive and there was a lot there. You can probably catch everything. You could probably get an intelligent spirit. You could probably you probably get something demonic, something dark. One of my scariest photos, which I can share with you, was taken there because we didn't get, oddly enough, we didn't get like a lot of activity while there. But before I left, I just snapped some photos down a corridor towards the jail cells. And when I was on the flight going home, there were glowing eyes in the dark. And I was like, "Oh, never caught anything like that. Okay." And so, yeah, I'll be happy to share that with you. But I use that in my class. I show people to give them different examples of spirits, and I'm just like, I don't know what that is, but it's not nice. Notice I took the picture. I felt compelled to just snap a picture, like it was saying, "Hey, look at me. Take a picture of me," because I didn't see anything with my physical. So
Have you ever gone? Oh, go
what
ahead.
was your most pleasant location?
pleasant.
Where yeah, where you had, some good interactions with spirits or conversations or, good feelings that made you feel so welcome and
There's too many. I'm trying to think. There's quite a few where I've been in. I'm like, hey, you know what? I'll say the most recent is that same place, Heritage Square. There's the Hale House. It's very popular if you Google the Hale House. Mr. Hale lived there with his wife, but he's very pleasant. I think he now knows who I am because I've been there so many times. He's not scary. Like you go in there, you're not like, ooh, you're just like, oh, I feel like there's someone here. But if you try to communicate with him with the tools, he will absolutely answer and respond. And if you talk to him again, it's like, oh, a gentleman is here. Communicate with him, and then he'll literally excuse himself. Where you're like, are you still here? Nope, he's gone. Or hey, can you come back? He'll come back. So yeah, that's the most recent. But yeah, there's been quite a few investigations where I'm like, wow, like these people are cool. Like this is awesome. They're talking to us. They're sharing stories, which is my favorite. Like I'm actually learning something about this person or the land to where they feel like they've been heard. Which I love doing that especially as an intuitive because I have a way where unfortunately there are psychics out there where they'll try to have that conversation or build that connection, and the spirit's like, I found a friend. I'm gonna go home with you. And I don't do that. I don't do that. It's more of just like, I'm just learning about you. Okay, well, thank you for your time. Take care, stay here, have a good day. And they're like, oh, you don't come with you? No, you cannot come with me. But yeah, it's been quite a few I can think of. I've had really good investigations.
Tony, if you had endless funds for a massive study to test one aspect of what you do, what would you choose to study and how would you set it up?
It would what I love is I'm kind of doing that now, which is great. So every
Don't do it
year,
for free, girl. Get
I'm
some money out of it.
I do. No, I was gonna say that, but I would do it on a larger scale though. So every year, I'm invited to Lily Dale Assembly. So Lily Dale Assembly is a massive spiritualist community. It's probably the most popular in the whole world, where people go and they learn about spirituality. They get messages, and I teach. I teach there and I hold events, and so my classes do very, very well. But I've always wanted to do it like on a larger scale, where I can like fund like going there longer, or not just going there during summer, being able to go during the winter or the spring, and having more people join. It's not just limited to those 2 days once a year.
So you like teaching?
I I like investigating more, but I enjoy teaching because I feel like people are learning from it.
I love that. But I love that.
Yeah,
I mean, the fact that you say of all the things you could do is give back to these big groups.
you're right.
maybe you can
Absolutely.
combine the two too in the future.
Yeah. I'm trying that this year so I
Oh,
usually do the
nice.
same class at
Cool.
Louisville, but this year I want to try, for the first time, investigating for the psychic medium there, where, they're very limited to the places that they let me go there, but I'm going to try that out where I'm not going to use tools. We're just going to be like, hey, it's a small group. Like, let's see what we learned and then like take it into these, I don't know where yet, this hotel or this place on the property and see. So yeah, I think I would put my money towards that. Cause yeah, I enjoy doing it, but then I love investigating.
If you were teaching on
Well,
if you were teaching on site, would you do it like um would you set up traps for them? Like, all right, like you would set up fake shit so that it's like, okay, like open your mind, like do it. And then if they caught something like wrong, that was a test. That tricked you. That's bullshit. And then, you know what I mean? Like, would that be something you would ever do?
imagine all of a sudden allegors are getting created everywhere.
Yes.
I haven't done that, but I could. I don't see why not. I like it.
Like if it's a teaching investigation, it's like, nope. First thing you should have done was, besides not go in the basement, is look for speakers that this person is faking you. It's like I put a Bluetooth up there. You should have known better. You know what I mean? I don't know.
I
I'm just
like it.
saying, like that's
I like it.
I
No, I like it.
whatevs. It's kind of fun. Tawny, I asked this to every guest, and I definitely want to hear your opinion on this because you've done so much, and it's this the whole point of this podcast. Really, it's what do you think spirits are?
I think not depending on the type. I think spirits are There's so many different types. That's why I'm hesitant, because there are some spirits that want to be here. So, like, when I say that, I think about like the Whaley house. They want to be in that house. Where there's mediums that try to go and clear it. I'm like, why are you doing that? They want to be here. They want people to enjoy their home, feel in it, see understand their history and legacy, and then they want you to get the hell out. But then there's also spirits that they don't want to be bothered. Almost like the location I went to in Houston, Texas. I can tell that in that location where I was with Adam Berry, that spirit, the male, did not want to be bothered. He did not want people in there. He didn't understand who we were and what was going on. But also, like the Hinsdale house that I did last summer, I was with Bridget Marquardt for that. There was a plenty of spirits in there, but there was one where you could tell it was like, who are you? Do you like let me tell you my story? Oh, I remember asking, are you the lady that they say they see walking around the lake? No, that's not me, but let me tell you about who I am. And so I think it just depends on the type of spirit, but most of them just want their stories told, or they want to be heard. There's that portion that doesn't, but those are the ones I encounter the most.
But what is it? What are they? Not what do they want? What are they? Are they actually our souls? Are they energy? Is it a memory? What do you think? Like, we're sort of under the belief system here that spirits are memories, like of,
Yeah.
energy in our brains and in our bodies cannot be created or destroyed. And when we pass, that energy, disperses along with our memories. That's a theory that we sort of hold on to.
Hmm.
Um, and that's what we think we're talking to, or what John talks to, I should say.
Yeah.
I'm not fucking talking to anybody. This is what he's talking to. So what, but so I understand that, you're getting what they want and you're hearing what they want, but what do you think they are?
I think I can go back and forth. I could say souls are energy. I would say that when I'm teaching it, I usually will say the word energy, because I tie in energy to both intuition and mediumship. And so I think that's probably the best answer. But if someone were to say, well, you think they're souls too? Yeah, absolutely. I would tie into that as well.
How were you brought up? What were you brought up religious? And in what faith?
Baptist, but we weren't like big church goers, but absolutely we believed in God, we prayed, and we understood the Bible. That's the best way to describe it.
That's fine. Does that play into how you approach a scene at all? I find religion tends to
Um,
obviously bring their background in religion in these scenes, for a lot of people, I should say.
for me, it doesn't. The only way I tie it into is just like when it comes to angels and spirit guides, I absolutely tie that into what I do. Like, where some people are like, I don't know who my angels are. I don't know who my spirit guides are. I actually am very connected in that aspect. So I would say that's the closest of religion for me. But otherwise, no, I don't really utilize that for my work.
What's a spirit guide to you? What is that? Is that in that sort of past life regression or QHHT sort of sense, in the same sense of what, do you look at it that way, at what a spirit guide is? Or were they human once, or no? Is that its own thing?
That's my personal opinion is I believe they
Yeah.
have walked the earth before. And
Okay.
so some people have one, some people have 5 to 6. It just depends on the person. Like for me personally, I feel like I have 2. And so they understand me. They've known me before, so they've known my soul. And I utilize that a lot in my teachings or in my investigations. If I feel unsafe or I feel like I'm not protected, I always feel like I have to kind of tie that in. But angels as well.
But you think angels walk the earth? No, that's different.
I do not think angels. From my understanding, I do not believe that angels have walked the earth.
Got it. And what do you think? So what do you think that is? Have you encountered one?
Me personally, I have not seen an angel or spirit guide. I've heard and felt when I was younger. I've heard a spirit guide. At least I think that's what it was. I was little, it's a memory, but I remember I was reaching in that was so long ago, the kitchen for something that was either moldy or I shouldn't have been near it. And I remember reaching for it and I heard a female say, Tawny, no. But I remember jumping back because I heard it so clear. And I was like, okay, that what? And then I ran out and I never forgot that was many, many, many years ago. And so, but no, I have not seen a spirit guide or angel, but I've definitely felt them.
Oh, wow. And what would you think that they are then, if they weren't human? Like, what is that energy from?
I feel like it's just, it sounds so cheesy, but like a
It's okay.
spiritual guidance. an angelic force, because like I said, now it's like I feel. So like I feel it or intuitively, as I told you, I'm a clairvoyant, I can
Yeah.
see them. And so as a spiritualist, like as I continue to develop, and I said I feel like I have two, like can intuitively see a woman, I intuitively see a man, and I could see and describe them. But I've always felt protected and I always kind of connected to that. So it's just yeah, like a spiritual guidance. That's the best way to describe how I feel with them.
Do you think the afterlife is like a heaven and hell situation?
I do. I do believe in heaven. I believe in hell. Um, I believe that, when someone passes, that there's somewhere their soul goes. But I do believe that they are accessible. So, if, like, oh, you can communicate with whoever has passed over, and they are here, they're close to you. But yes, I do believe that.
Okay. Uh, Tony, what's next for you? What's coming up? What would you like to tell everybody?
What's next for me?
Where do we find you? Where do you want the people to go and look for you? And what are some big events that you want to happen, not only in the next few months, but then what's the big Tawny Lewis plan for the next 5-10 years in this
Yeah, we
space?
also have people in the chat asking about socials and whatnot,
Yep.
like if you do
We're gonna
YouTube or
post it. Yeah, we'll post all this stuff,
all
and
that. So
we will have Tony's link right up after this episode in the link tree in our bio for sure. Her link tree will be in the link tree in our bio, so you can find her everywhere. But tell everybody, like, what is the big picture for you outside of holding a
Yeah,
bigger teaching class and paranormal, teaching, which I think is a beautiful idea. I think that's so fun.
yeah, yeah. I'm gonna find more basements to go into. I'm kidding. Let's see. No, no. What's so weird.
Stay out of basements.
I certified master teacher years ago, and I would do classes sporadically, but it's only April and I'm now done I think 4 classes this year. And so I think that's kind of my thing for 2026 that I didn't even really look for. It just started to happen. And so yeah, doing more classes. I have my Lily Dale course, which is kind of a big deal. I teach, but I also do paranormal investigations there. And so that's in late August. And then if you follow me on Instagram, Intuitive Tawney, as well as TikTok, Intuitive Tawney, and then Facebook, you just put in my name. But yeah, follow me. I post all my events. I have a big event next Friday at Artifact Tattoo in Santa Clarita, California. That is the
Okay.
one where the murder happened about 15 years ago. Tammy and I have already did our investigation, and it's very, very active. So that one is the tickets are on sale for that one. The owner is excited. The owner Diego, it's a great place. Like it's cool. It's
Is
just
he giving
cool
out?
energy
Is he
and
giving out tattoos during the event?
you know what? He's not, but when we went last time, he said, "Oh, you should come back on Friday the 13th. We're doing free tattoos." I was like, "What?" So they do that.
Uh,
They do that
yeah,
every so often. But
that's
yeah,
smart.
that's my upcoming event. There is a potential of me doing an event in Virginia in late May. That was kind of being floated around at Cabin 360, but we're still just trying to confirm that. It's not confirmed, so sorry if anyone's looking for the link. But I'm just trying to get out more because in the previous years, it was only in a like summer. It was like 2 weeks in summer I was able to just kind of get out. And it's like, I don't think I need to constrict to just that. I need to try to make this happen more.
Listen, I got to tell you, I want to thank you so much for your time today. As
yes, thank you.
I've been doing this for a little over a year with John, right? And the more I do it, and the guests and the my feed is getting bigger and bigger. And my feed froze when I saw you. I mean, you can't like. I feel like those eyes can see you through Instagram. By the way, everybody, without a question. And it's like, and I was like, who is this? And then I started, really watching your stuff, and I was so glad that you decided, you wanted to come on and share your story with us. I love the work you're doing. I think it's super fun how
Thank
you
you.
do it, and I like your perspective on the approach that
Thank
you
you.
have. Yeah, there's always, you see people on these teams like the token psychic, but you are not the token psychic. You are an investigator who happens to be a psychic, which I think is
Yep.
really interesting. And I like that. It's not, it works. It's working, and I hope
Yeah.
I really
Yeah.
I hope it continues to work. I think it's awesome.
Thank you very much. And I'm humbled that you asked me to be here. Thank you both.
Oh, it's sweet of you. Pleasure was ours, I swear.
Yeah,
Tawny, thank you so
yeah,
much.
thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, have a good one.
You too. Bye bye.
Um, Tawney Lewis.
Yeah, cool.
There's so many great people out there, dude, in this space.
There
You know
is,
what I
there
mean?
is. There
It's
really is.
just,
It's
it's,
vast.
I mean, and there's so many people doing different things. And I wonder if that's a result of sort of the internet and the social media thing, because it's like, they all
Oh,
learned,
100%.
but they all learned it from the same place, right? Probably got their, they all sort of, for a lot of the younger people too, they certainly watch Ghost Hunters, Ghost Adventures, but then they just sort of take it and do it on their own, like Noah versus the Paranormal and Jake Bruce, who are doing these things, and it's, and they're going out there, and in Tawney and these other, and all of the people that are out there doing creating a path that is different. And
For
like
themselves.
yourself, I mean, it's no different, like that idea of finding that original sort of angle for it, I think is super cool. But
Yeah, well, going back to the whole, conversation about like TV shows and whatnot, majority of the stuff that you can find on the internet, all this plethora of awesomeness, you probably wouldn't see on a TV show, and if you did, it would be brief.
yeah, you can't, they
You know?
can't do that. You can't put the time in. So you
Yeah,
got to make
can't
it, you
put
got
the
to make
time
it
in.
exciting. It's just the way it goes.
Yeah.
All right, chat. Anybody have any questions? I'm glad you guys like it. We all like Tawney Lewis. Intuitive Tawney is where you can find her on most social media, or
Yeah, a lot of
and
people
again,
are asking for her socials, so
I'm going to put it up. It'll be
Yeah.
up in a minute. Once we're done here. And I mean, really, yeah, she was pretty wild. I mean, it's like just a good, nice high and tight interview. It's always
Yeah.
good to have somebody on who knows what they're talking about. You know what I mean? What about you
Yep.
guys? What about you guys
Yep.
in the chat? Anybody got anything interesting to say? I'll give you a second before John and I bounce and get on with our lives. We're busy men.
Busy men.
More ghosts. We had some good interviews this week, guys. You got to stay tuned. We interviewed Haley Michelle, the paranormal princess. We interviewed
Marvin wants to know if you believe in angels.
Gary, do I believe in angels? I don't know if I'm there yet with angels, because that's a whole other level of spirituality that I'm still believing in consciousness I believe consciousness is a big part of what we're doing here.
Mhm.
And I'm not unsure of how that translates to something that is not from here, if that makes sense. What was I going to say? Oh, Professor Brian Lath, an incredible parapsychologist. That was a great talk we had with that guy.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's great.
And guys, Tuesday we have a new episode, and it's going to be a loud and fun one with adult film star Aubrey Black.
That's when that's coming out.
It's Tuesday. Sex and the Spirits, guys. Sexual energy, spiritual activity. She is. I mean, first of all, she's a smoke show, and then secondly, it's like she's into the paranormal, and she's had some experiences, and it's wild. But that's Tuesday, so spread the word. If you haven't subscribed yet to Splintered Spirits, wherever you get your podcasts, YouTube, Spotify, Apple, anywhere, do it now. You're not going to want to miss Tuesday's drop. That's a big one. We've got Nick and Tessa Groff coming on. We got a good deep dive with Nick too, man, about stories you've heard before, but in a new light. So that's going to be great.
Yep.
I mean, Nick Groff, the guy created Ghost Adventures, man. He created the thing everybody sees here. And then to his wife his wife is amazing. She's a psychic medium. Awesome. She was a Spitfire. Like that one, she's great. And that's going to be super fun.
They're both two great interviews.
Two great interviews.
They really are.
Guys, we got Gary Galka coming on. The guy who invented the SB7, who invented the REM pod. And what a heartfelt story that is. Yeah. He became an inventor after the loss of his daughter and to stay communicating with her. I mean, you can't make this shit up. I mean, it's a fascinating, wonderful story. So we got a lot of great guests, man. We got some great, more fun live influencers and creatives coming on too for the lives. We want to get more and more people that are doing this around the country and around the world to come on the show and talk to us and tell us their story and tell us what they think spirits are. It's the best way to put this tale together. So, ladies and gentlemen, that is it for this edition of Splintered Spirits. Again, hit like and subscribe, and We will see you on the other side. Stay curious as we are.
That's it. Tuesday.
All right.
Tuesday.
John,
Gary.
say goodbye to the people.
Goodbye, people.
Bye.
It's never goodbye.
Let's see you next time.
It's only see you later.
See you later. Well, that's it for another episode of Splintered Spirits. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. Until next time, stay curious.